Jordan Walsh was on the gallop. He got going towards the rim, but never got a clean look down there. Carlson, who came in, he was the last substitute in this game. Just played the final minute. He was the last line of defense. Getting in front of Jordan Walsh, altering the shot, maybe even getting a piece of it. And the Celtics are finally beaten in the preseason. The final score, Toronto 119, Boston 118.
All right, back here, 98.5, the Sports Hub. The Celtics preseason is over. It's over. A couple of takeaways tonight. Celtics started the second quarter on a 19-0 run. They led at halftime. They trailed by as many as 24 points. So those big leads, don't worry, they can come right back. Just another few takeaways from tonight. It was the final preseason game, so what can you say? But most of the starters played and started, except for Drew Holiday. Al Horford got his first action tonight. But a few things that I've seen. Clearly, Peyton Pritchard, he's taken a step. We'll see if that can impact on him actually making the lineup. He's got a role on the team, but can he do more? That would be something interesting to see. He went 5 of 11 from 3 tonight. Derek White, 5 for 14. And, well, Jason Tatum went 5 for 13 from 3. They shot 33% tonight from 3, which, again, a lot of their backups came into the game. Their bench made 3 threes on the night. So when you look at that number, 33%, it was certainly dragged down by the rest of their bench. But now it's time to move ahead to Tuesday night when the Celtics open the season against New York. Can't wait for this one. I'm excited. All the changes for the Knicks, right? With the Celtics coming back the way they are. Ooh, I like it. I like it. Can't wait to see Karl Anthony Towns banging down low, or will he, with Jason Tatum or Al Horford. And let's see the new addition that New York has with Bridges and, of course, the Nova New York Knicks. Well, things weren't happy the other night for Mr. DiVincenzo, though. He was chirping at the line when it came to the Celtics. But if you want to react to this game, it was the final preseason game. Are you excited? You should be. I already said back-to-back. They're going back-to-back to the best team in the league. Stan Van Gundy said they are the best 5 in the league offensively and defensively. They can cover any position. So I'm already on the back-to-back train. I read an article today that there are odds out there for a three-peat. I don't want to go there yet. I'm not saying that this is Shaq and Kobe, but win 2, and then we'll talk, all right? Win 2, and then we'll talk. But Jason Tatum shot. It's different. He went 5 of 13 from 3 tonight, doing it all again. You know, this is the one thing that bothers me when people talk about Tatum. Like, ho-hum. Yeah, he shot 9 of 21 with 24 points, but he had 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Like, he's involved in everything. He was a plus 13 on the night. He does so much more than just score. He takes on double teams. He can pass out of them. Brown tonight went 0 for 5 from 3 and missed 2 free throws, but still at 19 points. Like, these two balance each other out more than maybe any other combo in the league. And not a lot of people can say that about, essentially 2 forwards playing with each other, right? Normally it's big in a wing or a wing and a guard or whatever. So it's good to see that from these two. Also, I don't think this team will be distracted whatsoever by what happens on opening night. Like, Joe Mazzulla is probably going to have them watching something to the point where it's like they might not even enjoy it. So I'm not worried about that. Veteran-laden team. But I am curious to see what New York does. Do they try that defensive approach? Because I don't think they'll be able to hang with the Celtics. I think they'll shoot too many threes. My biggest issue with New York overall is the fact that they can't score. Yeah, they'll battle you and grind you out, and that's respectable. But you need to score. You need to defend the Celtics, specifically from the perimeter. If you can't do that, sorry, you're not going to win. But it will be opening night. I'm excited for it. You can call in at 617-779-0985. Just wrapping up the preseason here. I already mentioned Peyton Pritchard. People were really impressed with him. They do have to make a roster change. I don't know what's going to happen here. We talked about this a little bit last night, but Lonnie Walker is a guy that I think could really fit on this team. If he doesn't, they'll be completely fine. But he's a guy I think that's taken the sacrifice, could have gotten more money elsewhere, wants to play here, good friends with Derek White. And I just wonder if he's a guy that, or if they can find some room for him. And here's how it works. He'll probably start the year in Maine. He won't make the roster. Unless something happens. Unless Jayden Springer gets traded or something to that degree. And I don't know who's going to want a backup guard that makes over $4 million a year. So maybe there is. But how it works now with the cap is for every $1 million, it counts as $10 million. So if you want to bring Lonnie Walker on the team, it's 10% hit. It's going to cost you $10 million. So they have to sign him first. He has to agree, which I think he's already somewhat done, but if he's got a chance to play elsewhere, I think he might consider that. But he has to then go to Maine, and then any team that wants a starter, they can pluck him right from the G League. So it's interesting, but as far as making the team, Springer is probably that guy who makes the team, but if there's a suitor who wants to take on that $4 million, if I was the Celtics, I would certainly look into that. And I think there's a few other guys who've made a statement on this team that they could play. It just might not be able to play at a championship level. But, what I've seen out of Drew Peterson, I think he can shoot. I think that dude's a shooter in the league. And if somebody wants one, could you package them both? Could it be a Springer Peterson for a second-round pick? Something like that to free up that money to sign Lonnie Walker. That's my take. We'll see if someone's out there who'd be interested in that. One other thing I noticed tonight, Xavier Tillman, he didn't have a great shooting night. He did the night before. He looks completely different from last year. He was dealing with those knee injuries. He looked lumbering at times, but he was very good in the pick and roll. Now that he's had surgery, he looks good. Looks like a nice little rotating big man, I think, that can start at times. So he didn't score much tonight, but he had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal, and had a block. On this team, playing 23 minutes, that's all he has to do. He looks in shape. I like what I've seen from him. And every time I watch Neemias Queta play, I'm interested. 4 rebounds tonight in his 10 minutes of play. He did have 2 fouls. But he's just always around the basket. I like him. Just a guy I like. Someone I can get on who hit a big shot and then made a big mistake, J.D. Davison. You hit a big shot, and then you foul with 11 seconds left. Not cool. And Jordan Walsh, 24 minutes, 7 points. Still don't think he's ready yet, but he is hitting threes, and I think that's very positive for the Boston Celtics. So as far as threes go, we got a little bit of the Orca offense tonight. 18 of 55. 55 threes. And if they hit their free throws, they win the game. 24-28 from free throws. So I think even if they shot 33% and 55 threes and it annoys you, they still could have won the game. There might be an argument that they don't need to shoot that many threes because they're so skilled, but that's not Missoula ball. It's not the Orca offense. It's not the Whale offense. They want to shoot more threes, more math, more baskets, more wins, more playoff advancements, more championships. I'm in. And at some point, that style might have to change, and maybe they can do that. That's something we'll have to see with this team. But as far as shooting 50 to 60 threes, I'm in. So I like when you beat teams by 30, 40, 50 points. In on that. Oh, but it's too easy. The path is too easy. What are we going to hear this year? They're running up the score? Derek White, 23 points tonight. Jaylen Brown, 19. Tatum, 24, 8, and 6. They scored 40 points in the second quarter tonight. And then when they took everybody out, they gave up 31. That's it. Ready for the Celtics on Tuesday. Not much more else I can talk about here with them. But on the other side here, let's see what we got. There's a lot of stuff here. We can go Kraft. We can go Red Sox. We can go baseball. When I just saw a terrible pickoff attempt. I don't know. Jerry Jones is talking too. Tom Brady. He's officially retired as well. We'll do all of those things in the final hour here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
right, back here at 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. I'm watching this. We've had a lot of time on our hands tonight. We wrote 3 articles over at 98.5thesportshub.com. I know Skaz has his biggest matchups this week in the NFL.
Did a little Eastern Conference preview, too, for those interested. Little Celtics biggest threats in the Eastern Conference.
Okay, well, why don't we talk about that for a few? Pacers, number 1?
So I didn't really label it. I think the Knicks are number 1 after the offseason moves.
You've moved.
I think the Pacers give the Celtics fits, but it was still a sweep last year, and Pacers didn't really do anything this offseason, kind of just brought back the same team.
See, I think Matherin's going to help.
He's good. Solid player. You're a big Benedict Mathurin guy.
I have a lot of his rookie cards, that's why. Autographed rookie cards. You know? That's really my involvement in that one.
That was probably worth more than that Chad Ryland rookie card you had.
That and Cole Strange, man. What am I going to do with those? And all those all those Bailey Zappi cards. Oh, I have like 7 autographed Bailey Zappis. You know, that whole class: Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. Like what? Well, maybe they have a resurgence like Sam Darnold. You know, I still have Zach Wilson cards too. I wonder what those are going for these days. So you have New York, the Bucks?
Yeah, so you mentioned the Pacers. The Pacers are bringing back virtually the same team. They lost Jalen Smith and added Wiseman. I do like Wiseman. I think he'll help him on the boards. Help him on defense at times. But nothing groundbreaking in Indianapolis. But yeah, the Knicks, I think, are the team. They re-signed Precious Achiuwa. Anunoby's back. Brunson obviously is back. Jacob Taubman, not really a role player for them, but an end-of-the-bench guy they brought back. And they brought in Mikal Bridges, who I think is sneaky, a very good ad for them, guy that's
he's one of the best additions in the NBA this year.
He's like an NBA Iron Man, too. He never misses a game. Very consistent player. Landry Shamit's going to come off their bench. He's going to be all right. He'll probably get minutes over the rookie Tyler Kolek there. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously, Karl Anthony Towns is the big one. And they only really lost... only really, I say. But Hartenstein, I think, is far and away their biggest loss. I know people do the Randall thing, but I think Hartenstein really was big for them on the glass, especially with Randall ascending and then being able to ship him off for Karl Anthony Towns. That's a move I make, just about any day of the week. I think their starting 5 is much better, but the Knicks' problem is depth. That's where the Celtics abuse these teams, is they have 7 or 8 guys who can go out there and score, and I just don't think New York has that.
Yeah, just looking at New York, I pulled this up a little while ago. They'll go Brunson, Anunoby, Bridges, Achiuwa, and Towns. But yes, you mentioned their bench. It's probably going to be Josh Hart, right? Like Josh Hart's probably their guy, and
he'll probably play almost 30 minutes a night.
Yeah, you mentioned Kolek. Shamit will play in there. Cameron Payne was a nice little addition. So I was looking at the rest of the league here. Like, if we're just sticking in the Eastern Conference, Lillard, Connaughton, Middleton, Giannis, and Lopez, right? And then off the bench, it's still Bobby Portis, Taurean Prince, Gary Trent.
Yeah, so the Bucks lost in the offseason Malik Beasley and Patrick Beverley. And they added, like you said, Prince, Trent Jr., and DeLon Wright. So kind of marginal moves there from Milwaukee, but if Giannis is healthy, there's still the 2 or 3 seed in the East.
How about the Heat? Rozier, Hero, Butler, Jovic, Adebayo. And they still have Josh Richardson, Duncan Robinson, Highsmith, Jaime Jaquez.
I think Jaime Jaquez could start for them. He's a really good player, good year one. I mean, he was almost 6th man of the year last year, so he's a guy that could find his way into that starting 5. But this is my problem with Pat Riley in the Miami Heat is if you're a Miami Heat fan, how do you – it's got to be beyond frustrating that Pat Riley has done virtually nothing during Jimmy Butler's prime. I mean, they're a team that gives just about everybody fits in the playoffs if they can get in, because Butler doesn't take the regular season seriously. You have, I think, the best coach in the league in Spoelstra, but their only addition this offseason was Alec Burks. That's just not enough in the Eastern Conference when teams are going out and signing guys like Cat, and the Celtics are bringing back their entire roster. So Miami is what they are. They're going to be annoying. They're going to play tough. Spoelstra's going to coach them up. But when you're only adding Alec Burks to that rotation, I just don't see them competing with the top 4 seeds in the East.
All right, guys. Well, we'll have to check out that article over at 98.5thesportshub.com. We got another hour to go here. I was ripping ownership. Oh, by the way, can we just talk about the 76ers real quick? Maxi Oubre George with his hyperextended knee. Any update on that, by the way?
I haven't seen anything concrete.
1 week from tonight. Hyperextended knee, you could play in a week. It's just, do you want to force it?
It's Paul George.
Yeah,
so
he's glass. Caleb Martin and Joel Embiid. Their bench, listen to this. Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Jared McCain, KJ Martin, and Andre Drummond with Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, in 2018, that's an all-star bench right there. But Jared McCann is a good rookie from Duke. I think he's going to be a solid NBA player. But I don't know. Caleb Martin, he had that one series against the Celtics and then kind of fell off the face of the earth.
As far as depth goes, though, I think they're deep.
It's better than what they've had in years past. They built their bench up, and if Embiid stays healthy, they're a solid team. But again, I'm not afraid of the 76ers. The Celtics should not be afraid. I mean, they're not. The 76ers are what they are. If Paul George can stay healthy, maybe they're a little more competitive, but I'm not banking on Paul George and Joel Embiid playing more than 55 games together this year.
All right, we're going to do more previews for the NBA season as we lead up to you on Tuesday night. But let's get back into the Patriots. Accountability. Take some accountability and ownership. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the Patriots.
Into the end zone!
Here.
Touchdown for the Patriots!
WBC FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics lose their final preseason game, 119-118. They'll be off now until Tuesday when they open the season against the New York Knicks. What else is going on in the sports world today? We got baseball playoffs, and at the moment, the Yankees lead the Guardians 4-2. In the NFL, plenty of movement today. Devontae Adams traded to the Jets, Amari Cooper to the Bills, and the Texans sending Cam Akers to the Vikings. Tom Brady has officially been approved as an NFL owner. He's also officially retired from the NFL. Headlines, they are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 1 hour.
Get
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5, the Sports Hub app. Get the app.
All right, 1 more hour to go here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Woo! We started at 6 o'clock tonight. And wow, that felt so long ago. Need another boost to get through this hour here at 617-779-0985. I see our friends in the YouTube chat. Just go to youtube.com/985 The Sports Hub. Tommy from Lynn has a posse. There he is. I see David in there, Prince Humperdinck. Who else we got? A lot of people talking hoop in there. Talking hoops. And who's going to be a better team this year? Einbein is in there. What's up, Einbein? Dr. Turdbird. What a name. Brian Griffin's in there. He wanted to talk about the Exhibit 10 contract, which, guys, you can handle that one with him because,
Yeah, so to just clean up the Lonnie Walker thing, this from Bob Manning a couple days ago. The biggest hurdle by far for Walker making the Celtics is the $10 million tax hit that he has if he's on the opening night roster. He said, Bob Manning says, not much they can do to overcome that on Boston's end. They'll have to weigh how likely it is another team signs him and whether or not he's the best option that'll become available for the team's 15th spot. So there is a chance, I believe, he could go to Maine and rework his deal later in the year. But would he be willing to do that? And, he's kind of, shown his worth in the preseason. So could a team, scoop him up within the next week? That's also a possibility.
Think there's anyone that gets cut or bought out? Like, aren't the Celtics the perfect team? I'm just thinking, like let's spitball some names.
Well, when they had Blake Griffin, it wasn't exactly the same situation, but it was similar where his tax cap number was going to come into play, and they ended up, I believe, waiving Noah Vonleh at the time, and that saved them some money. But I don't see them waiving a Springer. I know that's the easy name that people go to, but they seem to like Springer. Think he can.
Cassell loves him. He's worked with him. They think he's really a good defender, is what they think, and they think it's been his ankles that have been the problem. But I haven't seen it. But yet I'm not there every day, right? We don't see it. I just say Springer, Scaz, because he's $4 million, and I'd rather the $10 million hit than the $40 million hit. But it's not my money, right? Hey, what's Joe Murray's thoughts on the Big Mac with McChicken? Well, I think it's great. Here's my take on it, though. Because we have talked about this before. Out on the lettuce. Like, is it now all 2 chicken patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun? Like, is that like, I don't want the lettuce. How about you give us 2 big, like, breaded chicken patties? Right? 2 big ones. I'm in on it, man. What would you put on it? Mayo? What's the sauce of choice on a McChicken Big Mac? How about you guys? What's the sauce of choice?
I think if anything, it's probably mayo.
It's probably mayo. I'm not putting ketchup on that thing.
No, certainly not.
Ooh, barbecue sauce on a chicken patty. Now we're talking, huh? I feel like I need to try that thing some night.
Maybe a live taste test.
You know what? I'll tell you this, guys. With all the time that we had, dude, we stayed busy. I mean, I worked the game. You were doing stuff back there. Like, we wrote articles. We stayed busy. At least the games will be interesting, and we'll be able to talk about them. I got preseasoned. I got preseasoned. Like, I. How do I get through this next hour? I feel like I'm pulling the sleigh. I feel like I'm, what's his name in that video there? Bruno Mars, when he's, singing and he's pulling the piano. That's me right now. Some guy said he can't do McDonald's. I've worked there too, bro. Let me tell you, I know all the ins and outs and all the secrets and surprises. Anyways. Any other basketball thoughts that you have? No, I'm just going to yell about Kraft. Not taking accountability.
Big picture, I think it's that's all you want to do is yell about Kraft.
No, that's all I got. It's all I have tonight. I mean, what do you want to? We can talk about Danny Amendola at Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, you're not super excited for Dudes on Dudes with Gronk and Edelman?
You know what? I am excited for Dudes on Dudes.
That makes one of us, Joe.
That is.
Did you see who their first guest is?
No.
Would you like to guess?
Tom Brady.
It's not Tom Brady, but it is a former Patriot that is a Hall of Famer that they both played with, I believe, very briefly. I think they both played with. I could be wrong.
Richard Seymour?
Richards, no. Seymour was gone way before Gronk.
Hall of Famer? Oh, Ty Law? Who am I missing?
Randy.
Oh, that'd be good.
I guess it's a solid first guest.
Yeah. Dude, if I told you we got Randy Moss coming on the show tomorrow,
I'd be pumped.
Yeah, we'd pop.
Just surprised Edelman couldn't get Brady to do it, First episode bump.
It's great. Hey, listen, you know what I love about digital content these days? I don't need to watch the show. Just put it on Twitter or Instagram so I can watch your reel. I don't need your show. I need your reel. That's true, right? Huh? How many times are you listening to Colin Cowherd? We play Stephen A. and we don't even watch the show.
I find the clips on Twitter.
We just find them. I know, and somebody would hate that, right? Because the Tim McCone said this one a long time ago. It's like, hey, did you see the solar eclipse? Now I'll wait for it on Twitter later. The smartest answer in the world.
If something good happens, it'll be on Twitter.
Yeah. And by the way, I learned a long time ago that Twitter is not a news source. So that's the first thing you got to going into it. Twitter is not a news source, but it's how we all obtain information, though.
It's an aggregator.
Exactly. And then there are aggregate. Dude, try a salad. No, dude, I don't eat salad. Why is this a problem for everybody? I don't tell you when you're like, ew, I don't like eggs. Do you think I get up your ass about not liking eggs? If you don't like eggs, don't eat eggs. I don't eat salad. But what? You got to make a joke about it? You got to make a fat guy joke? I don't eat salad. I don't eat lettuce. What is the problem with this? Why do you have a problem with what I don't eat? I don't talk about what you don't eat. Why? It drives me crazy that you care. And then you make a joke about it, like, fat guy, got to eat a salad. It's like, dude, I eat all the vegetables in the world. I don't eat lettuce. Stop. All right? I don't talk about what you don't eat about. I don't talk about it. If you're like, oh, I don't do ice cream, I'm not going to be like, dude, you don't do ice cream? Are you serious? How can you not do ice cream? Blah. No. I'm going to be like, all right, cool. People don't eat fish. I'm not going to get on you about eating fish, all right? Stop. I don't eat salad. Should I put it as my headline? Should I put it as the headline on my Twitter account? Since we're going there for all the information now. I don't eat lettuce. Out on lettuce. Ew, I don't like eggs. Do you think I get up your ass about not liking eggs? If you don't like eggs, don't eat eggs. Does that make you laugh?
I can without a doubt say no one has ever gotten up my ass about eating eggs, Joe.
Yeah.
No one has ever given me a hard time for that one.
I know. I gave up soda for 3 years. You think I want to hear your stupid lettuce jokes? Ew. When people tell me they don't eat fish, I'm like, cool, man. I love lobster. Give me all the lobster. Give it all to me. You have all the salad. I'll have all the lobster. Deal. I needed this to get going tonight. That preseason game took the wind out of my sail. I'm like Tommy Boy over here hoping for a little wind on my dinghy. Just a little bit of a sail to get going right now. Need a little bit of wind. That preseason game. Woof. Whew. Somebody's texting me. What's this all about? I bet you someone knows I'm flipping out about this. Of course. No love for lettuce. I smell a t-shirt. Yes. Listen. You know, I get it. The fat guy joke. Man, you should eat a salad. No, dude. I've given up a lot of other things in my life. I want to eat good things, but I'm not eating that. Like Meatloaf said, I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. I won't eat lettuce. I won't do it. Don't play the songs, guys. Don't do it. All right, let's go to a break. I'm going to get myself together. Final hour here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5. It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
I kept him for 24 years. I didn't enjoy having to fire him, but I tried to do it. If you look at the press conference and how it happened, try to do it in a classy way. And what he did for us was great. People need to adapt. And if they don't, or look at you folks together, things can change. In life, it's about getting good chemistry and trust and feel that, our record the last 3 to 4 years wasn't what I wanted. And I had given him so much power. He had full control over everything. And shame on me. I should have had some checks and balances better. But he had earned that right. But then the results weren't there. And if you're in the sports business, you win or you lose. There's no gray.
Right.
And I hate losing.
For the people who wanted to tell me that lobster's not a fish, fine. I don't care. Some people don't eat fish or lobster. I will take all the lobster. Hey, that was right. Hey, you got something on back there, guys? You like lobster?
I do like lobster, Joe, but do you know what you are if you eat lobster?
A bottom feeder.
That's all. That's all I had. No real contribution.
What do you think Stephen A. did for his birthday? I thought, I've been thinking about this all day long.
I know he was celebrating that Cowboys loss very heavily yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was up to last night, but I'm sure Stephen A. Had a nice night for himself.
I thought about that. I was like hanging out and like I'm chilling, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, I wonder what Stephen A. did last night. Because he had to wake up early today. You think he like? Does he always wear this? I never notice his suits. Is he just always in a suit? Have you ever seen that guy in a t-shirt?
Always.
Have you ever seen him in a t-shirt?
I think the only picture I've ever seen of Stephen A. not in a suit is like his high school basketball picture that goes viral every once in a while.
Oh, the one that was it? Who's the guy who says that he wasn't good and didn't play? Former broadcaster there. Yeah, somebody doesn't like Stephen A. He always calls him out about his high school basketball days. Was it Whitlock?
Yeah, probably. Who knows? That guy stinks.
Hey, Aaron Judge got a hit finally. He was batting like 180. And that's going to put the game out of reach right there. What do you got right now?
6-2 Yankees.
Oh, that's going to put him ahead right there. He got his first hit. All right. So Robert Kraft was on that morning breakfast show. And Robert Kraft and Gerard Mayo are blaming Bill Belichick for the state of the team. It's weak. It's a built-in excuse also for this season. Sure, Bill was behind the bad drafts. But they could have done something about it this year. Instead, Gerard Mayo goes on his weekly radio show and complains about it. And also Kraft goes on to radio shows and, as you heard in the clip there, basically said they had to move on. There's no gray area. He also, I want accountability from these guys. So when he said shame on me, yes, shame on you, Mr. Kraft. Think about this. The Krafts hired a guy that worked for Bill Belichick. Like literally an assistant on the staff. They hired that guy to be the head coach. And when Mayo was asked yesterday about the roster being bad, Mayo said, you tell me, I'm not doing that. So he didn't throw Belichick under the bus, but he wanted to. Certainly it's what he was thinking. Mayo's first season hasn't been great. His offseason was awful in these last 5 straight games. Again, Belichick had a lot to do with what's bad over the last few seasons. But to continue to rip Belichick and not do anything to improve, that's not going to work for me, bro. It shouldn't work for you guys either. Shouldn't let the ownership off the hook for that one. On the Breakfast Club, as you just heard there, he said he fired Bill Belichick. What happened to the whole mutually parted ways thing? Well, the decision was not so mutual on Belichick's part, Kraft said. I kept him for 24 years. I didn't enjoy firing him. I gave him too much power. He had full control over everything. Shame on me. I should have had some checks and balances better. But he'd earned the right. I blame you too. Like, clearly, we know that Tom Brady was responsible for the success of the New England Patriots. But Bill Belichick did find him. Tom Brady moved on, won a championship in Tampa Bay, and since then, the Patriots have been to one playoff. But you know what happened that one playoff year? They spent money. They brought in talent and free agents. So although they got bounced in the first round, it was an improvement. You spent money. You know, Bill Belichick certainly thought it was all about him at one point. In reality, it was Tom Brady. We are now living in the Kraft era, where they want control now. And they think they had a lot to do with it. The truth is, the QB had everything to do with their success too. Whether it was Drew Bledsoe before Brady, or even now Drake May. The Krafts know, or excuse me, the Krafts are now on the clock. Stop blaming Belichick for what you haven't done. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. There's a lot there. What was the plan? Just to hire Gerard Mayo and control the checks and balances? Let Elliott Wolf run your free agency and draft without a contract? The money they spent, they re-signed all Belichick's guys. They went and signed Jacoby Brissett, who Belichick drafted. They brought in Chuks Okorafor, KJ Osborne, Austin Hooper. You brought in multiple offensive coordinators to interview. You had a chance to bring back Nick Caley, and you didn't over money. Instead, you brought in Alex Van Pelt, who's getting paid by the Browns, who's never really called plays. They didn't spend money on premium talent. They didn't improve the roster. They didn't improve the coaching staff. This offseason, Mayo talked about burning cash. They didn't do that with their staff or the roster. Let's talk to Cam. He's in Georgetown. What's up, Cam?
What's going on, Joe?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to talk about how, going back to the 2022 draft, we got Tyquan Thornton. I feel like that's such a waste pick now. Going back looking, we could have had George Pickens, Trey McBride, or even like James Cook.
Mm-hmm.
He has not panned out to what I expected him to be.
Nope. He's played every game except for last week.
His best game since 2022, he had 60 yards.
He's not good, bro.
I know.
They wanted to get fast guys. You know that?
I know that. Belichick picked him.
Actually, Matt Groh did.
Oh.
It will fall under Belichick's tree, but why is he still here? Like, here's the deal, right? You can't get Javon Baker on the field, but you're going to keep Tyquan Thornton on the roster? Thanks, Cam.
Tyquan Thornton, bad pick, but you can't do they could have had James Cook. They could have had Trey McBride. If you have an issue with the Patriots drafting wide receivers, look at the draft where they actually took a wide receiver. It was 2019. They took N'Keal Harry at 32. Deebo Samuel went 36. I think DK was in the second round of that draft.
They had Deebo and DK on a tour together.
A.J. Brown, I think, was a guy that wanted to come to New England.
He wanted to come here. But Belichick didn't like how they were fooling around competing with each other. So instead, he settled on N'Keal Harry because he called Herm Edwards and said, hey, man, tell me about your boy. And quite frankly, N'Keal Harry was really good in college. You know what his problem was? Couldn't run routes. Like when you're an elite athlete like that, You could just jump in the air, catch balls, and do all that. When you get to the NFL, you need to run routes. Can't do it.
And for me, that's just so much more of a whiff by the Patriots than Tyquan Thornton, because the Patriots, the James Cook McBride thing, they're running back and a tight end. It's not the same. You went out and identified a guy in N'Keal Harry, and I can't believe we're still doing this in 2024.
We're still talking about N'Keal Harry.
But in that draft, Debo went after him, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, Mecole Hardman, who's not a superstar by any means, but contributed on a Super Bowl winning team. Deontay Johnson was drafted in the third round that year. Terry McLaurin was drafted in the third round that year. So if you're going to get upset about draft picks, it's about the position and when they targeted a need. That, for me, is one of the bigger whiffs, just because of how much wide receiver depth was in that draft class.
Look at this year. They settled on Jalen Polk, right? Edie Mitchell went later on. There's just, there are 9 tackles went off the board. I hated the Cole Strange pick, but the worst draft they had was Harry, Juwan Johnson, and Chase Winovich.
That was all 2019.
They focused on the right positions. They whiffed on all 3. You can't go 0 for 3. And you know what? At times, I'm fine with taking a risk in the second round. Right? Boom or bust. Rob Gronkowski is how I always look at it.
When they were a very good team, I was fine with a Dominic Easley pick. Did I like the pick? No, because the guy had 2 ACL tears at the time in both legs, but that's what you do when you're a good team. When you're a bad team rebuilding, like they were in 2019 when they needed to fill roster spots, they couldn't identify the guys.
Yeah, Bethel Johnson was another one. Dude was the fastest guy. He helped.
I loved Bethel Johnson.
But here's the deal. He wasn't going to be a championship player.
No, he was a kick returner.
But he could kick return. He had speed. But he was like a weapon for them. He was like all right, let's take him out of the toolbox and see what he had today. It's just that the tool didn't always work. But did he flash? Yes, and that's what you do in the second round. And they wanted let's face it, Tyquan Thornton was the fastest guy in the draft. You watched him at Baylor. That dude was a player. He's too skinny. He can't block. He's speed, and that's it. That's all he is speed. He's got nothing else. He can't run routes, can't separate, can't block. Therefore, can't make the team. All right. I'm Joe Murray. We got, another half hour to go here. Big trades today around the NFL. A lot of stuff going on. We'll get the final headline of the night. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Celtics wrapped up their preseason in Toronto tonight, but they lost 119-118. Most of the starters played except for Drew Holiday. Jason Tatum had 24 points. Derek White had 23. They'll begin the season next Tuesday night against New York. Bunch of NFL news today.
without Belichick. But just say it was Brady without Belichick. You think we would have won as many Super Bowls?
Dude, I don't know anymore, man. I don't know what they would have won anymore.
Well, you understand what I'm saying, though?
I've been told I put people in a cul-de-sac. I don't know where we are right now, man. We're in the wrong side. I'm on Park Ave, dude, and I don't know where to go.
I'm on Vernon Street.
What are you getting for takeout? What's the late night eat there out there?
Oh, Ziggy Bombs. What else?
They're putting a Dave's Hot Chicken out there. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Blue Jeans. That's an underrated place. Blue Jeans Pizza. Very underrated.
I'm a Ciao Bella guy.
Yeah, Ciao Bella's good. Yeah. No, I grew up in Worcester. Lived there my whole life.
Dude, they got that Taco Bell KFC right there next to the firehouse.
Yeah, I mean, I can always go for that. Hey, right across the street though, it's a Vietnamese place.
Dalat. It's my favorite.
Dalat, very good. That's
my favorite, bro.
Hey, see, so there you go.
So
I'm glad to hear that you know about my area.
I do. I'd still tell you though, it was Brady over Belichick.
No, I say yes, but I still don't think we would have won as much with a different coach.
So they'd win
That's all
3 with Belichick and 3 with Brady.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
Deal. Thanks, Colin. See, we agreed to agree. And agreed to disagree. That's communication there, Skaz. That's what we call communication there. We agreed to agree, and then we agreed to disagree, and then agreed to disagree to agree.
That was the Joe Murray roundabout right there.
that was real bad. But did you hear me keep going? So you mean that the coach had something to do with it, but it was the quarterback? Oh, God. Romeo's in Woburn. Hey, Romeo.
Hey, Joe. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Had a question. So everyone says about Brady, he had a great team. He had a great team. What about Belichick's great defense with Hall of Famers all over? How are we 100% sure that any halfway decent defensive coach couldn't get the most out of that bunch? The same way people criticize that Brady won with great weapons. They had great weapons. I'm not saying they didn't. But I don't know. I mean, are we 100% sure that...
Well, let's talk it out, Romeo, okay? In your mind's eye right now, how many great defensive performances can you think of that Bill Belichick designed against a team to beat them?
A few. Obviously, you got to go with the Buffalo game with the Giants, obviously. The 2 Rams Super Bowls. He's a great coach, but I just think that...
The first Rams Super Bowl was a masterpiece.
That was great.
That's a masterpiece. A couple of years ago, they had a great game against Lamar Jackson. They beat him. It was a great defensive game plan that night. And I'm just giving, that was after Brady. I don't know if you got any more, Skaz, but
I remember a few against the Colts too, early against the Colts.
Yeah, what they would do is they would show that, they would show a look where they were in nickel or whatever, and then Manning would check down to a run, and they wanted that.
Yeah, and around 05, 06, I think it got a little tougher for him with Peyton Manning.
Yeah, they had to go. They had to go more offensive.
I'm always pro player. That's the thing. And I'm going to give credit to them. They play. So I obviously think it was Brady more than Belichick. I think even if Belichick, let's say that 2000 season was a flop and maybe he gets fired, I still think Brady's probably going to win a few. Do they win as much? Probably not. But I think it's all hypothetical. But I think there's a lot of hypocrisy when you get with the Bill Belichick fans. They don't really think what they're saying at all. So I just wanted to run that by you and see what you thought about it.
Thanks, Romeo. Appreciate you, buddy. I think that that Tom Brady would not have won another championship if he stayed in New England. They were up against the cap. They didn't want to pay him all the money. He wanted to go out and do his own thing. And I think it's super impressive that he went to, of all places, Tampa Bay. And everyone's like, look at the weapons. Yeah, he had 2 really good weapons, but he brought a lot of his guys in, and they built an offensive line around him and gave him a running game and playoff Lenny and all that stuff. But it was Brady. It was Brady. Early on, Belichick had some beautiful defenses, really beautiful. 04 was Corey Dillon. I think he was really the difference. Ted Washington, some guys like that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd go 3-3, but early on it was definitely Belichick had a lot to do with it. Thanks, guys.
Still needed Brady to drive the team down the field and score, though, right? Not for a Super Bowl?
You needed Brady to not sling it like Bledsoe told him to do. He checked down, and then found Troy Brown over the middle, and then found Wiggy over the middle, and then J.R. Redmond on little checkdowns. Yes. And then you know what happened in the next Super Bowl? He did the same thing, and then Adam Vinatieri kicked it. And then the other Super Bowls, guys, he did the same exact thing. He went down. So, yes, you need a quarterback that, when the game's on the line, can get you down the field. Even the Super Bowls that they lost, they lost the game in the end zone. Do you know that? Remember Hernandez and Gronk were up, and Gronk had the bum ankle? Every Super Bowl they lost in the end zone. Even against the Eagles, right? Every one of them. Tom Brady had the ball in his hand, and every one of them with a chance, and they lost it in the end zone. Even the 2-point conversion that they didn't get to go to a Super Bowl or tie to go to a Super Bowl, they lost in the end zone. Wow, wow, my brain. What are we doing right now? We'll wrap up this show here on the other side. I'm Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Back here at 98.5, the Sports Hub. Just wanted to mention a nice thing that happened tonight. We all know about Johnny Gaudreau and the passing of him and his brother. The Columbus Blue Jackets tonight on their opening shift left an opening at left wing tonight where Johnny Gaudreau would have skated. Very nice moment. I think everybody in the hockey world has shown some tribute, and of course, a nice touch for the Columbus Blue Jackets, keeping their teammate in mind after a terrible tragedy that happened to him and his brother this summer. So, wanted to just shout them out. Nice to see that out of the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right. That's it for us tonight, guys. We're back here tomorrow, 6 to 9 p.m. Then we have a Bruins game. We'll have Bees talk, more Patriots, get into some more Celtics. For James Scaramazino, we call him Skaz, I'm Joe Murray. We'll talk to you all tomorrow night at 6 p.m. right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
WBC FM and HD Boston.
Patriots!